This is a modern version of a traditional cheese pudding, which always makes a wonderful Christmas morning breakfast because it can be assembled the night before and refrigerated overnight and baked in the morning. Cheese pudding, which is a savory bread pudding, can be traced back to England to the 11th and 12th centuries. By the 13th century, almost every English kitchen had a deep bowl called a pudding basin to collect scraps of stale bread, which would eventually be turned into a savory bread pudding or a sweet bread pudding. To make this English cheese pudding, you will need 1/2 of a loaf of French bread with the crust on, 2 cups of fresh grated sharp cheddar cheese, 3 large eggs, 1 1/2 cups of milk, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Into your buttered baking dish, tear your chunks of bread, and you're going to be actually making 2 layers of bread and 2 layers of cheese. So start by filling in the gaps and your first layer of bread. And now about half of your cheese, just sprinkle this over the top of the bread. It's about a cup, give or take. Proportions are not important in this recipe. Now continue to add another layer of bread. So after you've added your other layer of bread, now you're going to add some more cheese. I want to be generous with the cheese. Proportions are not important. This is just more or less by feel and how much you're going to be making. You can double this recipe quite easily and do it in a larger pan as well. And I always recommend that you grate your own cheese. You can use pre-shredded cheese, but keep in mind that pre-shredded cheese is treated with an additive that will prevent even melting. I've put our cheese and bread mixture aside, and our next step is to take your milk, your 3 eggs, your Worcestershire sauce, your salt and pepper, and your mustard, and using a whisk, combine it until it's well blended. Once your milk and egg mixture is thoroughly mixed, you want to just pour this over the top of your bread and cheese. Press down gently with your hand, and now this is covered with tin foil and refrigerated overnight. And in the morning, you want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and let this come to room temperature for about 45 minutes and then bake at 350 for an hour, a little longer if needed. Our beautiful cheese pudding has been baking for an hour, and now it's out of the oven and it needs to just sit for 15 minutes before we can cut it and serve it. My friend Nancy and I were recently discussing Christmas menus and traditional foods. This cheese pudding has always been a family favorite on Christmas morning in her family. Very kid-friendly and versatile. You can add sausage or diced chilies, whatever suits your family's taste. This is sure to become a family favorite in your house too.